Y'all, that fucking song is like crack. I heard it once and I'm like, okay, inject it into my veins. Oh boy. But yes, we are here with the beginning of the end of the Great Ace Attorney. I feel like I've said that like 5 times, but this time it really is the beginning of the end because we are at the beginning of the final chapter of the Great Ace Attorney 2. And oh god, oh fuck, the bombshell we were left in last time. The Virgin Watson versus the Chad Mikatova. Yeah. Oh my god, there's so many questions and so few answers right now. But hopefully that ratio will start getting a little closer in this stream. So let's go. It's time, my dude. Final chapter, the resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Damn, there is no intro. We're just right into it. Okay, I kind of understand, but damn. Let's go. Yo, why the fuck the Bailey theme so much more menacing than usual? So, the time's finally come. Today, we unravel everything. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Mrs. Sato. Mrs. Sato? This whole trial feels menacing. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm really excited for it. Oh no, well, what's the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Nothing. I was just saying that I'll be relying on your support today, but... I'm so sorry. Of course, I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but I shan't let you down. Honey, you're fine. Would you mind helping me to my feet, then? I think he technically went back past Barrick's whole apology. Damn, did I? Fuck. Does he deserve it, though? I know he has his reasons. I personally don't forgive him, but I won't deny that he is a more layered character than most people give him credit for. Oh wait, none. Never mind. Oh dear, I'm really very sorry. Susato-san isn't her usual self at all. But that's hardly surprising, I suppose. She's just found out that her father is the partner of a world-famous detective. Not to mention... Good morning, sir. Huh? Oh, hi. Bitch! Lord Van Zeeks! Thank you for all your efforts yesterday. Okay, he didn't apologize, but he's at least, like, thanking us properly. I mean, I'd rather the apology, but... He's treating us like a person. I should not settle for the bare minimum. Let's be real. Almost threw hands with Dracula. Fair. What? Did I hear that correctly? What? Oh, no, nothing. We can clear things up today. Really can't make this man out. His face says I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday. Almost as if he's just been a weak little bitch the whole time. I keep acting like I like utterly despise everything about this man, but like, he's still better than like Nayuta. He's still better than like Godot, in my opinion. But God. I can't place him either. Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruhodo. Good point. The Reaper, I suppose in hindsight, I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? With my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all this. I don't. Okay, so to explain Godot, like I like what he serves in the story, but as a character, he's just kind of doesn't really do much for me personally. Like, he's not like overtly awful like Nayuta is. I can't stand Nayuta, to be honest. But like, he's just, out of all the prosecutors, he just feels the most like, I don't know. Well, no, Nayuta's the most nothing, but Godot, I don't know. It's hard for me to place. Like Godot insulted 3-5 and he insulted Francisca. Yeah, that didn't help. That didn't help at all. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all this. But you're not to blame for that, Lord Van Zeeks. It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I thought your name was Barrick. I'm not sure what was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. That having been slain by that evil killer, Clint's restless spirit returned as some sort of demigod to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yeah, we've heard that story too. When I lost him, I felt as though I lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. So, in some small way, I wonder if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Okie dokie. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured up by an over-imaginative public. He was obviously extremely important to you. Lord Clint Van Zeeks, I mean. Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know you didn't take anyone's life. And I intend to prove that beyond the shadow of a doubt in court today. I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes. That burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Is Iris here? Hey, Iris! Oh, Iris, when did you get here? Oh! I brought you one of my special blends! Hurley loves it. He says it helps him to clear his head. I thank you. That's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. You seem different today, Iris. Oh? Sort of subdued, I suppose. I am not. What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. She's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Scythe's laboratory. All right then. Good luck to you both. I'll have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying? I thought you want my special blend. It's poison. And it's still less damaging to his goddamn liver than vodka. Or whatever he had in those bottles. Actually, no, actually, probably not. I thought you'd want to watch today's proceedings. Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I've got lots to get ready. Get ready? For what? Oh yeah, would you take this? Aw, little Blondie Herlock. Isn't that one of those little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack? Yeah, it's a lucky charm. A little Hurley that I made once. Aw. Looks more like a Hairley to me. Hairlock Sholmes. If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can. What? Pull his ears? That's right. It's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it. Iris's lucky charm. I've been told to tug its ears if I run out of options in the trial today. Okay. Thanks. You think what we'll need is luck?
I just sneaked a peek inside the courtroom and, yeah, it's fucking awful. I mean, it seemed very different to normal.
Well, yeah, no jury, of course. Yes, it would seem. A certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean? You mean Kazuma? Or just Drew? What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris?
I don't know. He's out all night and he hadn't come home by the time I left this morning.
Oh, I see. Was Professor Mikatoba out all night too, do you think, Mrs. Sato?
Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. And apparently they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all.
They?
Father and Judge Jigoku, I mean.
Jigoku's been gone a while. If he's dead, I'm not gonna have like the same level of like sadness I had for Gregson, but I will be a little sad. Judge Jigoku too?
That's right. Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday.
Counsel for defense and defendant. Court is about to be in session. Please make your way inside the courtroom at once.
Good luck then, Runo. Good luck, Susie.
Yes, thanks, Iris.
And you, Mr. Reaper. I hope it goes well.
Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing.
Oh, I'm so glad. We must go inside now, Lord Van Zeeks.
Lord Van Zeeks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today. Today I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the whole world. Now I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this one final reckoning. Let's go. Oh boy. Feels even more oppressive in here than it did yesterday. There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides.
Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, look!
Lord Strongheart! Kazuma must have known beforehand. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. Since when can you be a judge? Yeah, that's the question. What did you do with old Father Christmas, huh? Did you take him out back and kapow? I really hate this angle. Yeah, fair. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundation of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial. I mean, the voice I do for him is close enough to the judge. So, I mean, I can work with this. This will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, male Strongheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority. God, yeah, he is not, Wait, you can't just... the six jurors' flames just... As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary, assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart. Don't appreciate the tone, but yes. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zeeks. You are a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother, Clint, in fact. Can I just, like, even more? It extends far beyond what I was talking about the music. The sound design in this game is fucking next level. What the fuck? Also, yeah, do you not own a gavel? In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session for the trial of Barrick Van Zeeks, who officially stands accused of murder. Counsels for the prosecution and defense, are you in full readiness to proceed?
The defense is ready, my lord.
As is the prosecution. Damn, if I knew it was coming, I would have used the Vine Boom. That's a good point, Ladoggle. Maybe next time he does it, I can sync it. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There's a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice, Mr. Daily Vigil, who could be given the inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work when in fact, he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as a chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinners. By the way, I hope the audio levels are good. I want them to like be balanced for, you know, the final Ace Attorney streams. So I hope it sounds good. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. Defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed 1 day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Asogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on the 31st of October, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report. He did it! He said it! Let's go! That includes the amended details. But the official opinion of the investigation teams was made clear yesterday. That the time of death was 5 p.m. on the 1st of November. There are indicators of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept this new report as evidence. However, if this updated autopsy report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes. Especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating the precise matter yesterday. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. Okay, before we do that, we really do have 3 full pages of evidence. You think maybe we could, like, clean some out that we don't need anymore? Just a thought. I don't think we need the fucking firecracker anymore, for example. Hey, can I ask why most suspicious person who tried to hide evidence is the judge? 3 pages of evidence is fucking intimidating. What if I forget something? What if I start juggling through pages for like an hour? State your name and occupation for the court. Inspector Cheetah Lestrade reporting. Representative of Scotland Yard. A self-conferred rank, but never mind.
Gina? Again?
Hey, I'm not complaining. Love that lass.
What's your problem, Odo? What's with that Gina again? Look, the boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did.
Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean?
He got me out of the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina.
Right, all out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes. No. What's relevant to those proceedings that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some sort of assignment the police knew nothing about.
Very troubling.
That face. What Strongheart knew! So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report.
Coming right up, sir.
Let's go. Okay, the testimony theme is still the same. Good. Okay. I didn't want that becoming more intense. It's already good the way it is.
All yard detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too.
Smuggled goods?
I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book.
Tobacco, tea, spices, medicine, goods of all sorts flow into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time.
So Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets?
It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity.
No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority, without the Yard's knowledge.
Do we know where the dealings were taking place this time?
In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter.
But that can't be! We haven't heard anything about any of this.
Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Barrick Van Zeeks, was present. That would be very significant testimony then.
Oh my, but Lord Van Zeeks has made no mention of this at all.
In short, Lord Van Zeeks had ample opportunity to murder the victim. Damn it. I wasn't ready. Next time I'll do it.
Very well then.
Counsel for defense, begin your cross-examination. Let's go.
All yard detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told.
But they don't. Okay, but that's neither here nor there.
But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it.
Do we have that in our... Well, we have the identification.
Hold it!
So you went through Inspector Gregson's things?
Yup, as part of the independent Lestrade investigation.
I'm sure your superiors will be delighted that you're taking the initiative.
So I snuck into his office when no one else was about. Cause if anyone at the yard had seen me going in there, they'd have turfed me straight out on the street.
This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more and more like something else. The prosecution understands it was this very detective who discovered the notebook.
You got that right. Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and a trusty assistant, Chief Inspector Toby. We found it hidden in one of his desk drawers that had a false bottom.
That's impressive.
So then I went to hide myself and no one could find me so I could have the butchers at what was written in it. Because if anyone at the yard had found me out, they'd have turfed me straight out on the street. I'm giving it in now though, ain't I? And if it weren't for me, it would have never been found. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day.
Okay, we learned about the goods, kinda. Actually, no, let me just press again just to be sure. Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place?
Yup. It was all there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember.
As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Yes, I remember, but I was hoping to find something or other. You know, out the name of the club. That won't be necessary.
What?
It's conceivable the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. And I could too. I've got this reading game buttoned up now. Can't I show you what I can do? Go on, what's the
The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out.
Why not?
This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection.
Kazuma?
There's no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive.
Right then. Okay, let's fuck around and find out then, eh? I get to show off me reading skills.
I'm proud of her.
Apparently the smuggled goods deal was gonna happen at a gentleman's club called the Grouse? The Groose? I don't know what kind of bullshit name that is though.
The Grouse? What sort of club is that?
I ain't got the foggiest. Clubs ain't exactly my thing. But I am kinda curious.
They're not places where a foreign student like you would readily be admitted.
Have you looked in the mirror recently? I tell you what, me and Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover.
Could you, though?
I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I could find out while I was in there.
I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take place, is it?
Yeah, it's gotta be. That's what the lower ranking detectives at the yard reckon.
Says the even lower ranking detective.
Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't on to it yet.
The Grouse. Do we have any, like... I know it's not in here, but still, you know. Is there anywhere where we've seen the name Grouse before? I don't think so. I think that's a new thing. For us, maybe. I mean, it was confidential, so I assume so. But, like, it feels like it should mean something to me. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place, too. Lord Van Zeeks was at the club? He was. He was hitting them schmoves. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members report having seen the accused being admitted into the room as a guest. It looks like there's no disputing he was there then.
Well, we know that Lord Van Zeeks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Have you already discovered the inspector's secret notebook?
Which led into the club, you mean?
Maybe.
Presumably then there are also eyewitnesses who could testify that Gregson was there. None but identified this time, no. So then, the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club.
Oi! Why did you ask an Inspector in Lestrade here, eh?
So that's all I've got to work with. Gina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she? It's a cute stare, though.
I really don't know what to make of all this.
Lord Van Zeeks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson, but I never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident. You don't think Lord Van Zeeks could have been lying to us, do you? It's not the only way to explain this. Oh, if everything Lord Van Zeeks told us is true, there must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere.
You mean there are details we've yet to uncover?
Exactly. A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That's what we should be looking for here. All your other detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. A little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. Apparently, the smuggled goods deal is going to happen at a gentleman's club called the Grouse. So we should be investigating shit, I guess. We looked inside, right? I mean, I don't think it updated the thing, though, so I'm gonna look in here again. What was this? Something inside. Let's see. It appears to be a passport. Oh, yeah. The France passport. Right. Wait! Wait, does that mean... Wait, no. Does that mean something? I shouldn't be yelling, but the date. The date, though. Does that line up? Like, does that mean anything, or am I... my brain is not in a good state tonight. Just one day before the incident. Really? Grace went to France the day before his body was discovered? Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. Myers is there was witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place, too. Okay, that's witnesses for the Reaper. Looks like it was a big job, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. Apparently, it's moved as the only thing that happened, but we'll search the boss office turn out. Yeah, there's nothing about a date in here. So, yeah, I don't think it's has anything to do with that. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. And the thing didn't update either, so it's like, yeah. I mean, we have this though. Person and applicant for one. Yeah. Is that passport number, is ACD supposed to be Arthur Conan Doyle? Is that the Easter egg here? Like the estate or whatever? Probably not. I'm probably reading too much into that. I'm not sure. Oop. I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to be looking at here. Just giving myself some space to breathe, some space to think, maybe. Yes, it is a reference. Okay. I was just thinking about that. The coppers weren't onto me yet. Apparently it was, I have on a gentleman's club called the Grouse. Did I see what that was called? Oh, it looks like there's some sort of steamship ticket. The SS... Yokohama departure, the 11th of September. London arrival, the 1st of November. Ah, that's the boat that Professor Mikatoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it? Yeah, but also grouse! What the fuck?
Objection!
I've heard about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Okay, bruh, I know you were like Van Zeke's apprentice, but that doesn't mean you gotta be a goddamn hypocrite. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? I'm British now, Ryunosuke. Damn, sorry, we're gonna have to break up. Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Grouse? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on the 31st of October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force there, Counsel. Well, it's justified! I don't know. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it here! Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not the least bit untrustworthy. Yeah, the other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. Ah, this would appear to be a ticket for a passage upon a steamship. Yes. The SS Grouse.
Objection!
So there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say there's been a flaw in your logic. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in the port. Ship arrived at the port of Dover on the 1st of November. The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, the 31st of October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission, that ship hadn't yet docked on British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging. I'm starting to give Strongheart's voice like the judge's mannerisms a little bit, I think, and it's making me uncomfortable. The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the Grouse on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. Fuck, I'm never ready. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the 31st of October. Passport, right?
Take that!
What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim? Dated the 31st October? What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Let's go. I should have been ready that time. Order! Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. It docked on the northeastern coast, according to my father, who was on board at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? I'm impressed, Rinosuke Naruhodo. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? The prosecution strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. The day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. And that's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. What? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something might be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Osogi? A courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts, without exception. Let me guess, this was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to a steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper! The Reaper? Aw, fuck. Damn, I had 3 opportunities there. Order! Order! What on earth are you saying, counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was in fact acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was... obviously, an assassination. Beric Van Zieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast iron alibi. Which tells us they must have had an accomplice. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson?
Hold it! What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done nothing like that.
And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense.
No, it can't be. We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper.
Even so, there's no way the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zeeks.
No, the true Reaper is somebody else.
Barrick Van Zeeks is not the Reaper. A predictable response for someone who's advocating for the man. Even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper. The suggestion they went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission, that doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion. Do you, counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. The day in question, nobody was killed aboard that steamship. Professor Mikatoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship. But I think perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life.
What?
Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped the very important detail here.
What are you talking about? What detail?
Inspector Gino Lestrade.
What?
The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey.
You're lying! Even if all them bludgers what got taken out had it coming. The boss weren't the Reaper. Poor Gina.
There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. You may just be an apprentice, but if you spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors.
I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it.
Then testify again, as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss.
I don't...
I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Fuck.
Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to in these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates, and places and stuff. And the last entry there was from the 31st of October. It said grouse for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal that got away from the Reaper in the court 10 years ago or something. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all.
Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here. This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What can't I deny? The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper. Duh! So, who was to be this final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on the 31st of October.
How do you read this then?
Reading's still not her strong suit.
Ain't the problem, alright, Odo? It's a funny name. It ain't English, it's hard to read.
So it's someone from overseas?
Let me have a bash at it. Is it?
The Reaper only goes after... Wait.
Yeah, Seishiro. You? Maybe? What? It can't be.
Seishiro Jigoku?
But that's Judge Jigoku.
Seishiro Jigoku. Clearly that's not an English name. You're right. But that can't be right! I know Judge Jigoku! I saw him here the day before yesterday, in London! So I know for a fact the man hasn't been assassinated! As I said, the Reaper failed. Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and returned to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector personally. The Reaper, of course, being the accused, Beric Van Zeeks. It's an undeniably logical argument. Kazuma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you? Yeah! POV. No! Pray forgive the courtesy of filling my hallowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder. Lord Van Zeeks! The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective.
What? Nah, that's wrong. I ain't. I'm an inspector.
Repeating rumors heard around the yard. Reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. Damn, okay. Damn, okay. Calling him out. Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself. By attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. What did you say?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance.
My lord, defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to the important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. Fuck. I was late. Very well, I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Then allow me to toast to the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. We are not friends. Counsel for the defense began the cross-examination immediately. Why does he do that? I haven't been in court. Why does he do that? I don't know. It's just a thing he does. Just roll with it. At once, my lord.
Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years.
Hold it! In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper.
Not you and all. That's the only explanation, isn't it? He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and the notebook said what he found out, eh?
If I may... When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. Don't you toast at me with your $30 wine glass! When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believe the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper.
One arm? What are you on about, eh?
The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization. With you at its head. Oh my god, shut the fuck up. I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I've been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew the location. You knew it said grouse? Believing it to be a reference to a gentleman's club, I went there on the day in question to investigate
alone.
Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you there.
But of course, the inspector was not there. Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Duh! Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook.
Fine. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? You seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago.
Oh, no, it's alright. I'm overthinking this, aren't I?
Names of victims, dates, and places, and the last entry was—
Hold it! Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff? I was gonna make a joke like I'm stuff, but like Gina is just recently 18 and I don't feel comfortable with that. What in particular?
Well, besides the victims' names, this other name kept cropping up.
What other name was that?
It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name written over and over again.
You mean Asashin?
Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, isn't she?
Were you even listening yesterday? Asashin. The assassin. Wow, I just fucking got that. Holy shit. Really, Van Zeeks? Listen, I don't pay attention to these Nipponese names. God, he's still... Old habits die hard, huh? Listen, I may be on trial here, but it's for an entirely different reason. Carry on.
Okay. What? Like a killer, you mean?
Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who to use to get at them. But the person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying. If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes. Duh!
Perhaps what it said on the passport document. Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Could that additional person have been?
Clearly the assassin who was meant to take Seishiro Jigoku's life.
Gina! Can you confirm that? Because the final entry it listed Grouse and Seishiro Jigoku. What name was written? Oh, well, that's the only entry didn't have a name next to it as it happens. Don't kill me.
What?
It just had like a question mark or something there, I think.
In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not?
Oh, how infuriating. I'm sorry, I'm not good at expressing my anger. It's just, I'm just very irritated right now.
A nameless assassin?
It said Grouse. It said Grouse for a name on that date and then the name of the mark.
And you're saying that the mark listed was Seishiro Jigoku?
That's what it said. Funny name if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd.
So pleased to have lost my crown there. Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago, studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. So Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now.
10 years ago, after that fateful case.
Precisely. Precisely! In the aftermath of the professor case, his repatriation was organized immediately. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook.
I didn't think it was possible, but the mood in here's got even worse now. Absolutely atrocious vibes. I'm just gonna keep talking. There was a note about him being a criminal that got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. But
oh wait, yeah, I was pressing everything. I was on a roll there.
hold it.
What do you mean a criminal? Jigoku's no criminal.
He's a very kind man.
Well, don't ask me.
I don't know nothing about it. I really lost the voice there for a second. I'm sorry. I gotta get back in there, you know? I gotta get the accent really fucking thick. You fucking what, mate?
It's awful. I know it's awful, but I play into the awfulness to make it, less apparent.
Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Jigoku did once appear in court here in Britain. It was related to the professor case, I'm sure. Yes, of course.
Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he, got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged.
Bum, 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 bum.
It was a pitiful situation, yes. I've forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted that trial too as it happens.
You did?
He was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand. And there you have it. Have what?
Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. There's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike.
What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination?
The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is.
Come on, that's absurd! Take someone's life for that?
Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd? Killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension.
But... Objection! Right, I've had just about enough of this. Gina? All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people, it's cobblers! Come on, Odo!
Yes?
Why ain't you saying nothing? Why ain't you yelling out objection or something?
What?
You gotta find the flaw, you do usually. Someone's lying here, no question. You gotta work out who it is. Please, for the boss.
Fuck. I really need to just focus on when he does that.
That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums could make a detective. When this trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade.
I hate you.
Is that clear?
I've had it with the lot of you. It's lies every bleeding place you look in this world, isn't it? Well, I've had enough. Gina.
So have I. After that little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind.
To do what, Mr. Naruhodo?
There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd.
Oh, do you mean...
I'm not gonna let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears. Let's go.
Come on, Odo, help! You gotta find the flaw somewhere. Hold it!
I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency?
Really, Odo?
I don't quite know what it means yet, but... yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by...
What if I accuse my boyfriend?
Take that!
by you, Kazuma Asogi.
Me? Is this some attempt at filibustering, counsel? Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Wait, I don't know what the evidence is, though. I just said to him because it sounded like he was spouting shit. Very well then, counsel. Go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Professor? No, that is... No, can't say that. Prosecutor Asogi has said. What did he say? I'm really just... the same person's comprehension. It doesn't go far enough for me to check! Is there something in the trunk, maybe?
Take that!
This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, isn't it? It's certainly very heavy. What's this? A bloodstain? And a relatively fresh one, too.
What? You mean that grease? That ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips?
Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. This is a trunk. Dear God, there's more. No! There's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it.
But I found it. Me with me nose for trouble.
Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present from when the victim was killed. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma. Because at the time, he was making his way to a steamship docked on the northern coast of France, shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Right. Yup. So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport? Fuck injection. But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma. On the 31st of October, where exactly were you? At the ports of Dunkirk, on board the SS Grouse. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke? Kazuma! What did you... I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then it only been for one purpose. Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo, surely you don't think... Come on, Ryunosuke. You know the rules. And so do I. The only thing that really talks in this courtroom is hard evidence. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proved nothing. Kazuma, are you challenging me to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were there that day, in the same place as the inspector? He was there? With Gregson? There's a clue that you've overlooked. A secret that trunk can tell us. I can't be sure at this point. I'll need to verify it. I have a nasty feeling that I'm gonna be right. Shit, I had my fucking finger hovering over the hotkey, and the 1 second I take it away. The accusation being held is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. Where's the evidence that ties Prosecutor Asogi to Inspector Gregson? Let's have a look inside. Actually, wait. Did we ever confirm what this was? Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind. Gosh, for a metal just like this would have been so badly damaged, whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force.
We don't know.
Life's a fucking gamble! This is your proof. What do you say to that, Prosecutor Asogi? Personally, I think tying the defense counsel to the inspector's trunk and tossing it into the sea would be more helpful. What? At least that way, London courtrooms will be safe from his destructive accusations. I believe that was a rather long-winded way of telling you that you're wrong, Mr. Naruhodo.
Fuck.
Very well. Let's see if you sink or swim under the weight of this penalty, counsel.
Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, you can't allow yourself to be drowned at sea yet.
I was hoping never to let that happen, funnily enough. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk's alleged clue is to be found. Catch this overhead, Naruhodo-san. Oh boy.
What is it?
Is it actually the passport then? Was he the +1?
Got it.
This is your proof. Fuck.
There's only so many places I can press. So eventually, I've got to get it right.
Well, yeah, there's only one other place, I guess.
Got it.
What? Did I present the wrong evidence then? Oh wait, that's a far way back. Oh, I thought I saved early.
Well, I guess this is where I... Well, I guess I can like recount the evidence then in that case. I mean, that's good, but like, yeah, I can skip text. It's just I do think it's the trunk though. I can't really think of anything else though.
Objection.
I just gotta give it another look-see. I just don't, I can't think of it being anything else.
Especially with all this dialogue in between. Wait. Oh my god. Wait. Ah!
Do you see that? There's something stuck in the side of the trunk there. It's glinting. Was that there the whole time and I never noticed it between both of these cases? It's like a fragment of metal of some sort. But it's wedged in so tightly, I can't remove it.
Well, don't cut yourself. You'd better leave it, I think.
Got it.
There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here, like the tip of a blade.
A blade?
Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Karuma. Of course it is. Won't you draw it here in this courtroom for all to see?
Well, I mean, not for all to see, you know. It's a closed courtroom, you know. It's confidential. You can show your sword to a homie, I won't mind.
I'm sorry, that was awful. Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Asogi like a hawk. That won't be necessary. There's no hammer emoji, so I'm just saying hammer. Yeah?
Where's the tip?
The tip is broken.
No, see, you can't hammer me for that. The game said it too.
If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. You said it wrong. Fine, fair enough. I should put the bonk sound effect on my soundboard. I'm surprised I don't.
The closest I have is my combo move. All right.
Agreed, Kazuma Asogi. Expertly done, Ryunosuke. It's a point to you, and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Asogi? Yes, on the 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the monarch. All my deep voices are blending together, I'm sorry. You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Jigoku? Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one. Explain. I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk. I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. You were never going to do it?
We can believe Kazuma-sama, I'm sure. After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day.
On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Grouse and moved for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan.
You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin?
Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait. But we've already told you I had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night in a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
A boarding house in Dunkirk?
My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify. Then, what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger. No, and end his wretched agent's life. Nah. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder. But if you did nothing as you claim, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? I don't need to answer that. Duh. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case. And accordingly, I chose to exercise my right to silence on that matter. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. Let's go! As you wish, my lord. We got the sword! We must take immediate action now to verify whether Shishiro Jigoku remains unharmed. Let me examine the sword! 4 pages of evidence! Is that a new record? Maybe. I haven't played Investigations. Karuma, the great blade. It's such a thing of beauty, I want to gaze on it for hours. God damn. tip of the great sword. Broken. It's such a shame. It's been so meticulously cared for over the years. I can almost hear Karama's sobs. Kazuma must have really taken a swing for that to happen. Boop, boop. Is there anything else to examine? Anything? I just want to make sure I get all the flavor text of Ryunosuke being gay. I guess that was it then. Okay. Well. What? Remains unharmed? I agree. That should be our first priority. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. How did you? When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say that you think Judge Shigoku may have been killed? The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, when he has the power and influence to give order from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Ziegs? If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. Order! Order in the court! Order! We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Oh, already? Damn. Now? Feels like we just got started. Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we'll have to assume the worst.
Oh no, not Judge Jigoku!
No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Except, that is, for a racist pig like the Reaper, wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Don't be a hypocrite, Mr. Strongheart. What did he mean by this? Mr. Naruhodo, for the defense's sake, my lord, I sincerely hope we are successful. If we're unable to confirm Mr. Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, we will face grave difficulties. Court adjourned for 30 minutes! To be content. No?
Kazuma-sama, the Reaper's assassin. I feel as though I'm in a nightmare.
I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Kazuma isn't in the habit of making up stories. The sword can't talk.
I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. If something awful has happened to Judge Jigoku, then I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control.
God, that opening note for this version of the court lobby theme is fucking imposing. Jeez. I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careering. Careering? Isn't it careening? I'm gonna say careening. Careening towards a foregone conclusion. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Unfortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options.
Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last ear. Of course! Little Mr. Sholmes doll that Iris gave us. If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial, then just pull the ears as hard as you can.
Luckily, I'm not that strong, so I won't rip the ears out or anything like that. Perhaps now's the time. What should I do?
Pull it!
Here it goes then. I'm gonna do it.
Good luck, Mr. Naruhodo.
No looking back. Heave! It's a plush toy, Ryunosuke. No need to heave.
Ow!
That scream sounded like Mr. Sholmes. Oh, my mistake. Ow! Ah, God! What the fuck? Mr. Sholmes? Where are you? Here, my dear fellow. Here. It's the felt doll talking.
Pull the ears again, Mr. Naruhodo, as hard as you can.
All right, then. I'll pull all my strength into it. Heave! Ow! Ah! Please, my dear fellows, you don't need to pull my ear off. Oh? It's a communication device? What the fuck?
Mr. Sholmes, where are you?
Myself and my trusty partner are presently in the first-class cabin area of the SS Grouse. Oh, shit! The SS Grouse? She left Dover last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We are currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway in half an hour. You taking a ship to France? Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station and by train to the port, in order to board this vessel in time.
So, you mean you'd already worked it out? That the steamship was where everything really took place?
Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what is my name?
Sherlock Sholmes, world-famous great detective.
Recited to perfection. Well done.
You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes. That's the only word for it.
Ow, ow, ow. Mr. Sato, gently with this genius's air, please.
Oh my, I'm ever so sorry.
I love these dynamics so goddamn much. If I may, Sholmes. Ah, there you are, Mikotoba. You may remember that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Grouse at Scotland Yard yesterday when we examined that notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket. But of course it was, my dear fellow. And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions utter my name. Yes, you did, didn't you? We just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now.
And if we're unable to present any new leads, then I'm afraid to say.
Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That would be wonderful.
Until later, then.
Yes, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first.
Ow, 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 ow. I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tugging my ear in mindless fashion. You mean friend? You mean friends and home alone refers to his partner as my friend. Damn. Whatever was the idea behind making a receiver operate in that way in the first place, Sholmes? Also, are we gonna do an investigation in the middle of a trial? I think the better question is, are we gonna play as goddamn Sherlock Sholmes?
Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris's invention, not mine.
Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Sholmes, we have but half that now before the Grouse puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. Naples? How do you say that? There are times, Mikotoba, where you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin. Okay, I can't get on their ass too much for reusing a model. They did it all. They already did it all the time in the jury, so like that horse has long left the station. But the fucking little tuft of hair. First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow. Why are you loitering here? Who are you? My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? The question really ought to be, who are you? Do not recognize a world-traveling great sailor Chicken fuck you. Chicken Stroganoff when you see. Great detective, ha! I don't think so. Chicken nugget. Do you see that, Mikotoba? It would appear this man is a devoted follower of mine. Goodness me, is that a tattoo? That says Sholmes? I must say, while such adoration is flattering naturally, it does leave me a little cold. What are you talking about? Leave, now! How distressing. My loyal devotee knows me only by name and not by appearance. And yet I already know a great deal about you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact.
How could you know this?
Elementary, my dear Mikatoba. I'm sure it was. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship you see. We're looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. There is no one with his name on board, but we know now that he purchased a ticket for passage. Ah, you mean Easterman. He left ship 2 hours ago. Here at Dunkirk, he said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So Seishiro's realized we're after him, has he? It's cool. It happens rarely, but it's cool to get other characters that aren't the main character's thoughts. Good. His cabin is the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please. No! I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Mikatoba, be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you? Make up some excuse so that he leaves the area. Doesn't great detectives see that even sailors have ears, both left and right? Curses! This plan is ruined! You've only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Solms. Forget it. Cabin door is locked. Even if I am not here, you cannot get inside. Oh, deadass. Mikatoba, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock? Within a mere 5 seconds. So if you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typically accommodating manner. How can I refuse a typically unappealing request, old friend? So I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man. So, the game is afoot. Let's go, pull the alarm! This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that were to ring. The whole crew would know about it. Here goes then. Pardon me in advance. You, what are you doing? If we were at sea, that would be a very bad problem. What's going on down there? Seaman's driving out, report at once. Duh. Sorry, sir. Nothing to report. It was a stupid trick. No, not by me. By what famous... No, as I told you. Now, Sholmes, now! Done and done. Not even 5 seconds, eh? Well, just stand there gulping up my brilliance, Mikatoba. In we go. Oh, yes. Let's get in there. What's going on in here? Good gracious. It would appear that the occupant of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly. Those clothes on the floor there. They're Seishiro's, without question. Well, it seems we're just a little too late then. Yes, by about 2 hours. Still, whilst we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may well be 2 hours worth of clues to find in here. That burly crewman will return at any moment, Sholmes. Indeed he may, which makes this all the more thrilling. Alright, let's look. According to the report I was given, Naruhodo was concealing himself in Asogi's wardrobe. Indeed he was. He was of a similar size to this one. Ah, you must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow. What? Whatever for? It was the site of my first fateful meeting with Mr. Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, in you go. This will only take a moment. Really, Sholmes, you can just tell me what you said. Well, I uttered some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer. I think I'll just read about it in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, honestly. This is such a cool little bit. And there wasn't even a to be continued. This is just continuing off of the first part of the trial. That kicks ass. There's a speaking tube here, though it's been stopped with some cloth. So the voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose. Or indeed so that the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere. Could something have happened in here that was for no one else's ears, do you think? Either that, or it could be to prevent snakes from entering. That's really become a favorite case of yours, hasn't it? Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. See here how it's... Is something wrong, Sholmes? You've suddenly trailed off. Ice, Mikatoba. Ice. What opulence the first-class passengers enjoy. Chilled drinks. Pardon? Could it be that this steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated... Wait! Holy shit, wait! Sholmes, you're big braining this. Sholmes, you're fucking big braining this. What the fuck? Well, it is a luxury liner after all. They have enormous refrigerators for storing all sorts of lavish produce as well as ice. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world. Suddenly, Mikatoba, the sight of you is making my mouth water. There is no heterosexual explanation for that line. There is no goddamn heterosexual explanation for that line. Excuse me? And they were partners? The game is afoot? Holy shit. I haven't taken on the flavor of the food I ate, you know. This is the waste paper basket. Look, there's still rubbish inside. Indeed, then let us pry. I've discovered recently that I have a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets. I sincerely hope only for your work. Ah. Here we have a notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago. 3 days ago? The night before we arrived in London, then. When I was still aboard myself. Following departure from the port of Dunkirk, all crew members are reported to assemble. I didn't have time to read that because I was doing the funny accent. Oh, yes, there was an evacuation drill. I remember now. That's not even flavored text, that's like required. Gay as fuck, let's go. Gay as fuck, let's go. Oh my god. I'm just grinning from ear to ear now. That was fantastic. For our safety and security, all first-class passengers are constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. So it was a welcome relief to have some privacy for once. Great observer of men. He wasn't lying! Everything comes full circle. Alright, it's found in Judge Jigoku's cabin.
Damn, he wasn't lying.
Can I look at the... I can't look at the court record. Dilphin Jr.? Where's the lie, though? Where's the lie? Not a single one of those words were real. I'm pretty sure enjoyer's real, but 75% at least. Those are the rules of passage. None of those words are in the Bible. They're in my Bible. Perry, that's a copy of the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Like all of them compiled into one book. Yes, and passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and/or travel cases. I feel the rules have increased since I last read them. Probably just my imagination. What about the fact that they're not straight on the wall? Doesn't that strike you? You may be right. Probably just your imagination, though. A trifle. You know what I always say, Mikatoba? Nothing important about trifles. It's probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off. Plenty of reading material to keep passengers occupied on their long sea voyages. Found the mixture of classic literature and easy reading to be most satisfactory, I must say. What stuck to this bookcase was a hopeless heretic. There's no copy of the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, my dear fellows. I'm afraid it's just me. But no, you're quite right. More blasphemous than overlooking the Bible! Listen! I don't know this game. This was a coincidence. I am pure profit. Oh my fucking god. Also, somebody's gonna get offended by that line, probably. I shall leave a copy behind. I just happen to have one with me. You're a true missionary of the Church of Great Detectives, aren't you? I can't fucking believe... That's not gonna fit as a clip. I'm making a highlight for that. When all is said and done tonight, I'm making a highlight for that. God damn it. True missionary. Y'all are killing me. Oh my god, but also these two gay 30-something men are also killing me. That's a very sizable trunk indeed. Cicero's parcel all things large. What did he mean by this? I need to stop. And a rather clumsy fellow if he failed to notice he left that behind. Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but still a hindrance to a speedy escape. Pity. It's locked, so we can't... Sholmes? Surely 5 seconds from now, the situation will be quite different, though. Sadly not. Here's a 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at present. This is game 2, case 5. Yeah, and? That's a substantial heap of clothes on the floor. Overcoats, shirts, a dressing gown. Momohiki work trousers, a Tanzan robe, a Haramaki waistband. Clearly the clothing of a Japanese man. And clearly, Japanese men aren't accustomed to the culture of the wardrobe. Looks to me as if they've been throwing the heap like that in something of a hurry. Indeed, you can help yourself to a Japanese man's shirt, perhaps. I'm sure you made mention of packing too few. I'd likely drown in one of Seijiro's shirts. No, I'll just buy any extras I need, I think. Anything else down here? Okay. Yeah, that was sus when I came in, but I wanted to make my way to it. The wall's slightly different. The wall's a slightly different color just here. Do you see? Indeed, what you have observed arises when a frame that has been hanging for some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief. Now there's a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure. He may very well be the elusive thief who's been plaguing France's galleries as of late. Speaking of sus, damn, that Among Us update actually kind of nice. Yeah, they've really been putting the work in, and I respect them. I think perhaps we should focus our attention elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? An outline on the wall. Feels though I might have spotted something of a similar shape and size elsewhere. Like, right to my left. Oh! Hi, fella. You are still here? Able to see man Stroganoff. Hello again. I was beginning to think you'd never materialize. You are waiting for me? Of course, I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner. I was in trouble with Captain because of the trick you played before. Poor innocent chicken. It is all your fault. Ship is leaving port soon. Get off! Now! Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first, there is something that must be done. What are you talking about? Why, naturally, the debunking of your deceit and the bearing of the truth. Kakoi! I'm afraid I see through your lies. For one thing, Mr. Jigoku has not yet left this vessel at all. Oh shit, that's the song. And for another, my dear Seaman Stroganoff, you know exactly where the man is, even as we speak, don't you? How can you? Good gracious, Sholmes, you've worked it out? All of it? It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less. So, would you care to join me for a dance of my inimitable logic and reasoning? These are not things a straight person says to another man. Nothing would please me more. What is this? We have but minutes until the vessel puts to sea. No games now. Oh shit! Time is of the essence. Mr. Stroganoff, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. I'm still at this play. You told us Jigoku left the ship some 2 hours ago. That is what I said, yes. Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. You see, there is something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it. What? Yes, of course. I see you've noted it too, Mikotoba. Then please do take the lead. What is this cabin? It shows the impossibility of Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago. Let's see what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikotoba. It's been 10 years since we last did this, Sholmes, not 3. Why, of course it has. Quite. Now all the clues are here in this cabin for your eyes to see. As I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe and the answers become clear. So, impress me. I think I can manage that. What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago. The glass with the ice.
Take that!
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, shit! He's getting down with it. Perhaps you should have cleared away that glass. How curious that the ice shouldn't have melted despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. Duh! It would appear that the man was here in this very cabin until moments before our arrival. This well-chilled glass in hand. Get your mind off the refreshments, Sholmes. One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganov? But why would Seishiro run from us? This game goes hard. Yeah? Before we answer that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins on the SS Grouse are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigoku were accommodated on your voyage from Japan? Duh! That's right, they are. I was in the cabin next door, and Seishiro was... Yes. 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage, as suspected, for you see, there are traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigoku had to hide. What traces? I know nothing of these. Ah, this is news to you, is it, Mr. Stroganov? Sholmes, what exactly are you getting at? As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure won't have escaped your notice. Something out of place in here? That's the key to this, Mikotoba. The remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. I must say, I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again, Mikotoba. No, quite. But life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we well know. Now then, let's see if I can't uncover the truth here. Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow.
Take that!
Ready? And tap, tap, tap!
It's the rules of passage in this frame here. They're obviously out of place. The way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put here in a hurry. Yes, as I'm sure you've already concluded. That frame was originally over here. The shape and size are a perfect match. Ah, you are right. When did frame move? Hardly the most observant of crewmen, are you, Mr. Stroganov? I would think your captain is quite justified in having his reservations about your reliability. Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve. So, Mikotoba, why don't you lift that frame off the wall? Oh shit. That looks like a bullet hole. What? Who has been shooting walls? I see the projectile has been removed. Clearly, the careful occupant of this room has already disposed of it. Now then, Mr. Stroganov. Ah! I have the distinct impression that you're attempting to shield said occupant. I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I try to protect the Eastern stranger? Ah, so we're talking about the same man, I see. Good. I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time. Aren't you? Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense as clearly shown by... I really don't know how to approach this one, Sholmes. Ah, my dear Mikotoba, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle. And I'm quite sure that you'll see it. In fact, I put a wager on it. So I'm to glare at the fellow from all sides? Well, I can certainly do that. As you've been told to keep up this pretense as clearly shown by...
Take that!
No? Okay. Mikatoba, no games now are my words, were they not? Come, Sholmes, where's the fun in life without a little fooling around, Quite right you are. That was a close shave. I'd better rethink that before I'm the fool here. Crewman aiding a Japanese man to avoid capture by an English detective. Nationality didn't come into it. In this respect at least, all humans are the same. Thank you, Sholmes. Ask yourself what can spur a man to do the bidding of another about whom he knows precious little. There's one thing in the whole world with such repugnant, bottomless power. Let's not get carried away now, Sholmes. Ah, chunky arms.
Take that!
Take that. Let's go. Ah, it's almost too obvious for words. Quite the universal language of the world. Money. Duh! And I'd wager the Eastern fellow in question is Seishiro Jigoku, yes? Ah! So I presume you realize what this means. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin. And the way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice. But... I believe you know, Mr. Stroganov. You know where Mr. Shichigoku is hiding at this precise moment in time. As always, Mikatoba, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is your unfaltering ally. Yes, I think you're onto something here, Sholmes. You found the chink in this burly fellow's armor. We only follow the man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding. The slightest flicker of the pupils, a minutely delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that which is barely perceptible. You could hardly call this barely perceptible, Sholmes. The man turned his entire head. It's not exactly what you describe as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious. We shall let your tapping toes decide, my dear fellow.
Take that!
Let's go. God, this rules. You turned immediately to look at this large truck, didn't you? Ah! The truth is, Seishiro Jigoku was unable to escape from the ship in time, and is, at this very moment, doing his best to stifle his breath inside this truck. If he still has a breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. I imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interest for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible. But how can we? Are we forgetting about the combination lock? We don't know the 7-digit code! The combination lock can't be opened from inside the trunk. Therefore, there must have been an arrangement for somebody to... Wait! Of course. Oh my god, wait! Before Jigoku hid himself inside that trunk, he must have told somebody the 7-digit number for the lock. And I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Stroganov. Hold up, I'm unpausing. Don't move a muscle, my good seaman. I fucking... Yeah, that's 5231045, baby. That ain't Sholmes. Where are the odds, though? Huh? Now, Mikatoba, would you do the honors and open the trunk? How on earth do you expect me to... It's a 7-digit number, remember? Quickly now, we have little time. Now, I wonder how this works in the Japanese version. Okay, so... Wait, no. 5-4. Wait, no. I'm getting my numbers. I'm getting my numbers crossed. 6 digits. Oh. me when I literally remake a whole puzzle in order to in order to fucking localize a game. Wait, what? Little dog will stop throwing numbers. Little dog will stop throwing numbers in my face. I swear to God. Oh my God.
Take that!
Let's go.
I did it! It's open! You had to meddle, didn't you? Well, Eugen, you've found me now. Cicero.
And unpause.
I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. No, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you ever going to introduce me? Your reputation precedes you, Mr. Sholmes. I've read stories of your many exploits. Excuse my manners, Sholmes. This is Mr. Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion. The devil's in the details, Mikatoba. I believe you mean to say your old friend and traveling companion, who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour. I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Well, Cicero, are you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here in this very ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey. Yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it all became too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So you decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it? I'm afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now that I really ought to have confided in you. It's somewhat surprising, I must say. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket and here I am. I've just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in this cabin. So you'd already purchased your return ticket before we even docked in Dover, had you? Prevent anyone else taking this cabin and seeing the evidence, is that it? Eugen, I have nothing to say to you. Well, in a mere 5 minutes, this ship will set off on its onward voyage and not make port until Italy. I'm afraid we must insist that you disembark with us at once. You have no jurisdiction over my movements. We have this, Cicero. Take it. What is it? It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from the British courts would be. You came prepared then, Eugen. Come on, let's go. One moment. What is it, Sholmes? Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk. I found this rather fascinating trinket. What is that? Cicero? I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component from something or other. But what, I have no idea. By the look on his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know. Well, let us pocket it as a small souvenir of our brief sojourn in France. Looks like a fucking doorknob. Well, young Naruto, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant. God, what a kick-ass section.
That ruled. Ah. Sholmes is like getting up there is like one of my favorite characters in anything. God, what a fucking Chad. Kazuma Osogi, I know you, and I know you wouldn't lie. But still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying. During the past 30 minutes while this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. But sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained. We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed. There's no sense in wasting any more of the court's time. The prosecution calls for an immediate verdict. No, the trial can't end now. You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword. And you should know never to presume when the battle is won. The court has already been presented with the evidence and heard all relevant testimony. There can only be one conclusion, that the accused is guilty. All relevant testimony? Far from it. There's still a crucial witness from whom the court has yet to hear a single word of testimony. In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel. Okay. Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible.
The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow.
Who on earth is this crucial witness? Saisiro Jigoku, the very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Jigoku? You found him? But the investigations of every policing resource in the capital suggest Jigoku is already dead. How in the name of God did you find the man? He was located in France during his recess, at the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one of Mr. Herlock Sholmes' famous deductions. Herlock Sholmes. Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death. And along with Prosecutor Sogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. Which means that Saisiro Jigoku is the sole witness who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Grouse on the 31st of October. Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move to adjudication at this point. The prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered. In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side? No, my lord. No objections, my lord. We live to fight another day. By the skin of our teeth. We just hit 2 hours. Y'all, I'm sorry, but I've got to keep going. Even if only just a little bit. Wait, what? What do you mean investigation part 1? Was that not just the investigation? The unexpected halt of proceedings set a clamor around the courtroom. But outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night. Then, a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. Damn, y'all made a fucking dinner. We have returned, my dear fellows. Me papas. Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more wearing day than Mikitoba and I know. You can say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier. So this prosecutor, Sogi, had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say? Well, he's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I mean, it's incredible. to think that he'd even entertain the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin.
Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me.
After all, I've only ever met the young man as a corpse. When all this started almost a year ago now. Mr. Sholmes still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. But the motivation for what he himself described as a great detective's lie. Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France. Why do your dads call each other baby girl? Let's not talk about this. Well, it's another country, Mr. Sholmes. So what news of Judge Jigoku?
We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives have a lot of questions for the man.
Poor Professor Mikatoba. This must be quite a shock for him. Ah, yes, I picked up this telegraph office. Picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home. What is it? Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter only yesterday.
You put upon me, Mr. Sholmes, to fill out your telegram to Japan. But the bill as well. What a hassle.
Oh, you had a reply already?
What's so urgent though, Mr. Sholmes?
Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present.
Well, that's good news, because supper's ready, everyone.
Ah, and what a feast it is. If I were none the wiser, I'd think the trial were won already. Roast beef, kippers, stew, steak, and kidney pie. Yorkshire pudding.
Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up.
In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be the only one set with a helping of pheasants as well.
Oh, sorry, Hurley, not there.
Why ever not? Are we in set places this evening?
Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy.
For me?
That's right, I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey.
Iris, you can't say that. There are 7 trained snipers on this house right now.
I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you.
It's a shame, really.
What do you mean?
Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. But Susie and I were half sisters, I mean.
Aw, you're not? Damn. That's... I was really hoping we get some siblings, but oh. Roberta Bailey got nothing on Disney. Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Oh. I'm sorry, that delivery was sensual.
Iris, do you mean... Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday. I secretly listened into the conversation you had after I tricked you all into thinking I'd left.
What? Fuck. The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikatoba are Iris's father. Huh? Yes, about that, Iris. You know,
I know. You can't tell me at the moment. Oh, Iris. The pheasant is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping.
Oh, no, that's quite all right. Then why don't I get any apologetic pheasant?
So just who is Iris's father? I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today. You just gonna leave me like that? With my balls turning blue?
So then, let us dine on our largely pheasantless plates while still piping hot. A fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious.
Eat as much as you like. There's always seconds.
This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. About that telegram from Japan and about Kazuma. I can't let this opportunity slip away. Damn, Sholmes. Listen. I'm sorry, I only have room for one course of dinner tonight. You don't have to, like, You don't need to have ass out like that, is all I'm saying. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
Surely it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikatoba's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Nevertheless, I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on with hungry eyes.
Sorry, Hurley, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy.
Even though I've played the role of father to you for far longer.
Mr. Sholmes, can I discuss some things with you?
Certainly, my dear fellow. I find myself quite in the mood for the spell of conversation. No doubt, you're hungry to learn more of my deep love of game.
I can probably contain my curiosity on that one.
You needn't look at me in that fashion.
In what fashion? It seems that before we discuss the pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss. Oh, God. Alright, let's talk. Actually, let me look at that comically large pheasant, though. Roast beef, kipper stew, kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding, it all looks so mouthwateringly good. Indeed it does, and if it were accompanied by even a morsel of pheasant, it would be perfection. You're still on that?
Oh, it really does look like a feast for celebrating a victory in court.
Or indeed for drowning one's sorrows after defeat.
I hope you weren't referring to a trial tomorrow, Mr. Sholmes. He's clearly still in mourning over the pheasant at the moment. God, let it rest. Alright. Is there anything new around? I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's just talk. So, what was in that telegram you received back from Japan then?
This, I think my lucky stars had arrived in time. Record found is indicated. Duplicate follows. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. What? Those 4 names? We've come across that exact list before!
They came up in that unforgettable case last spring. My dude! What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated murder turned out to be masking monumental intrigue. A plot that involved the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states. Also, only I would fucking look at a dead guy like on the floor, bullet wound in the back, and be like, yo, my fucking dude! Oh. He was a good lad, though. In exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked, we deciphered a fragment of a message. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. Damn, this sounds like some. Where are the victory percentages on this card, huh? We didn't find the names out until the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. All we knew was that the information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. Damn it, why are you right? Yeah. So why are the names coming up again now? I mean, right down to Shin being on there. Granted with an extra N, but still. Yes, where did the sender of your telegram discover them, Mr. Sholmes? I have here the message I had wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Enter Judge Jigoku's office undetected and investigate telegram records. Expect to find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. List of full names need by tomorrow. Naruhodo. I sent it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine missions of this nature. You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you? That is the first time we've heard that name in like a fucking month. And in my name? I wonder what guy's he open for this time. My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency, you understand? Anyway, the list of names was found in Saisaru's office, as Sholmes predicted. So you mean the mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was... It was sent to Judge Jigoku. He was the intended recipient. I don't believe it. But that doesn't answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies. I did formulate a hypothesis about that, but without the shred of evidence I couldn't possibly have shared it. Mr. Sholmes looks deadly serious for once. Bam, 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 ba-da-down, 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 bam, bam, bam. God, we're gonna get to 5 pages of evidence, aren't we? That tragedy we had to go through on the SS Buria. It was all for nothing! Cosmo wasn't dead at all! We were completely taken in by the lie you told us. Your great detective's lie. I took no pleasure in deceiving you. However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's study tour from taking place, whatever the cost. What? I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan. His remains, you mean? Precisely, Mr. Sato. And then I made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his stead. Oh, you mean... The arrangement between our two countries was already in place. One university student lawyer and one judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Asogi. I would successfully prevent the man from arriving on our shores for several years at least. Wait, do you mean to say that it was all in aid of stopping Kazuma coming to Britain? That's why you... Think back, Mr. Naruhodo. Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England? The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. I don't know why I have a British accent, I'm Japanese, but in the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Ah, my dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. But there's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. The voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourself another suitable lawyer. So, you manipulated me? I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths to which friendship will drive a man. I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend. I don't believe it! But if it was all contrived... I mean, what happened was treated by the authorities as murder. A woman was mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her? Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought. You manipulated me? Yeah, it's in the mail, wife. God damn it. I seem to remember Mr. Sato and I had some rather strong words for her. Well, she certainly was not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure. I wonder if she made it to America then. So wait, yeah, we know of America. Then why is Russia still not? Why does Russia still refer to Japan as the East? You're in the East too, asshole. Whatever. I'm afraid to say I simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Sholmes? Why were you so determined to stop Kazuma-sama from reaching It's because London is the center of the world or whatever. I know. I just realized that. God. The truth is, 12 months ago, there was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see. An omen that at this very moment in time is close at hand. An omen of all these tragic events that already existed a year ago is close at hand? We need to find out exactly what Mr. Sholmes knows. Oh boy. Oh, I need to be in the present, not in the... Oh, okay. Wow, I wasted a whole 30 seconds. There's no room for doubt with your instructions in this telegram, Mr. Sholmes. You're very clear that it was Judge Jigoku's office that should be searched, so you obviously knew that that's where the list of names would be found. Yep, there's the names. We only learned to those 4 names just over 6 months ago now, and only because they appeared as part of the top secret government communications that were leaked. That's true, yes, but at the time you were unaware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that, approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. Yeah. It really would be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others for intercepting state secrets, because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British and Japanese governments. Yike! You're perpetually doing what? How? Never mind the details, but you should know. No secret is safe from Herlock Sholmes when he has designs on knowing it.
Oh my, Mr. Sholmes, what a fabulous line.
Now, 1 month after that list of 4 names was wired to the recipient Jigoku in Japan, Mr. John H. Wilson was murdered. Herlock Sholmes is an enemy of the state. Ah, the ideal husband. Oh wait, no, he already has a husband. Never mind. The ideal DILF wife, whatever. As soon as I learned of the incident, a hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turned out, I was partly correct and partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow.
Mr. Sholmes, please, tell us all you know. Tell us about these 4 names and the tragedy to which they're somehow connected.
Okay, well, as I said, when I learned of Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names, because you see, there's someone else on the list who I believe to be recently deceased.
What? Who?
A Shin, as it was transcribed in Japanese script. In actual fact, Miss Asa Shin. It was a rather familiar name to me. She was a professional killer, well known among London's unsavory classes. I see. But she had completely vanished from existence several months before Wilson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed. And accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the remaining 2 persons on the list.
Ah, Keisuke and T. Gregson.
Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself. I told me it would be safest if young Asogi were to stay away from Britain. Ah, so that's why I went to such lengths to prevent the study tour from going ahead. Exactly, my dear fellow.
So, you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Sholmes?
Oh yes, Sholmes and I have exchanged correspondence for years. I'd recounted many tales about Asogi to him in my letters, and the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course.
So, Dr. Wilson is dead then? I didn't know.
Oh, Iris!
I know he wasn't my daddy, but still, that's very sad.
Man, imagine if we told her that before we learned that this was all a hoax.
I'm so sorry.
I mean that the Wilson we knew was that the whole thing we thought was the wrong Wilson. I'm not good at words right now. There's a lot to process.
I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you. No.
What you just told us, Mr. Sholmes, doesn't completely tie in with the facts. There's one big hole in your hypothesis.
A big hole, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ah, yes, you mean about Asashin, I presume.
Oh, of course.
Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan, posing as a visiting student under the name of Giselle Brett. I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow. But I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel.
Ah.
And upon hearing that startling revelation, the hypothesis that I had formed surrounding those 4 names was completely turned topsy.
What?
Topsy? What do you mean when you say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Sholmes? I believed I had all 4 names on the list to be names of victims. However, I was mistaken. Very much so. Asashin was a killer.
So this telegram was a list of both victims and killers, is it? Indeed, and it would have seemed that Miss Shin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. Her visiting student status being merely a front.
Which would of course explain why no motive could be determined for her actions.
So the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Alice Shin is because he was the target of an assassination! And forearmed with that knowledge, fresh consideration of this telegram puts the list in a very different perspective.
What do you mean?
Well, does it not strike you there was one among the four who subsequently became a visiting student?
Wait, you mean?
But of course, I name you know only too well.
You mean Kazuma? Oh, he did say in court earlier today.
Yes, on October 31st, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. Young Mr. Asugi accepted that mission a year ago now.
Surely not.
In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts. An international agreement, one might say, detailing an assassin exchange.
An assassin exchange? How could Kazuma have possibly gotten involved in something like that? Not my boyfriend.
Let's assume that we have two parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. These two parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. That would be an assassin exchange.
So to begin with, the British assassin dispatches a visiting student to Japan where she kills her target. And then the Japanese assassin dispatches a visiting student to Britain in order to eliminate his target. It certainly does sound like an exchange. But what on earth is the point?
Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction, thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction.
Oh yeah.
This jurisdiction should be null and void under the terms of a new treaty between our two countries. So the fact that it was brought into place is just intervention at the very highest levels.
The highest levels?
These murders were two sides of the same coin, linked not by a common motive but by contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated, yet in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular, devilish scheme. That dissociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot. But wait a minute, Sholmes. If this telegram really is describing the exchange of assassins as you're suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Saishiro Jigoku at all. It would mean Asugi's target was actually Inspector Gregson.
What? Kazuma was here for Gregson? So Judge Shigoku wasn't actually the mark? Yes, that's exactly what it would mean.
I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the inspector safe.
Mr. Sholmes?
I told him of my fears and I implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position. Obviously, with the young pickpocket in tow.
Yes, Gina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us at the Great Exhibition, that he'd be transferring to the Paris police and taking Gina with him.
But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seemed, and sadly, turned out to be his very last.
This is too much to take in. All right, everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. Isn't it, Hurley? I mean, look at the time.
Ah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow.
What preparations?
Well, I think I shall make my way back to my hotel room now. This certainly has been a night to remember.
It is a little bit sad, though. I mean, I like the idea of you being my daddy. Because then Susie would have been my big sister.
I'm sorry, Iris.
I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing. Were you? But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. What? Really? Oh, yes, without question. So, you'll teach me all the ways you know to throw Runo to the floor?
I don't want to get my ass beat by a 10-year-old.
Yes, yes, of course. It would be my pleasure.
You didn't have to agree quite so readily.
Oh, but wait a minute. If Susie's going to be my big sister, you can be my big brother if you want, Runo.
Huh? I mean, yeah, of course. If you'll have me, I'll gladly be your brother. Well done, Iris. You must always be mindful of feelings. I've raised you so well. Because being sensitive is your strong suit, naturally.
Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now, because it's for my big brother and sister.
Oh. What is all that talk about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing what? Based on what?
You'll just have to wait and see.
Oh. Okay. Good luck in court tomorrow. I'll be expecting a sterling performance. I'll do my very best, of course. So the overnight break in the trial's proceedings became a crucial turning point, exposing new truths while posing new conundrums. That list of 4 names on the telegram in Judge Jigoku's office, and the extraordinary assassination plot in which my best friend had somehow became involved. I felt as though I'd been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden. At the same time, I felt sure I would see the light again soon. Oh. Because I was lucky enough to have the most wonderful family in the world standing steadfastly behind me. Aww. This cast is so fucking great. All right. And on that note, I think we're going to be wrapping up for tonight because that discussion took a lot out of me. So, thank you all for coming. Thank you for staying. Thank you for watching this show. And this weekend, we're wrapping this up. So be there, or I don't know, I'm not your boss.